everyone, and welcome. You are watching Eagle News America. I'm Michael Hudson coming at you from Seattle, Washington. It is Tuesday evening here, April 13th, 2021, and tonight we have updates from several of our correspondents across North America. Eliza Gonzalez-Malikmut reports about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine being halted by the CDC and FDA due to rare incidents of blood clotting. Thomas Likeness in Edmonton, Alberta.
More troubles for Canada's vaccine rollout.
We also have Jane Kathleen Gregorio in Corpus Christi reporting about Texas governor's statement on Johnson & Johnson vaccine. We also have Carlo Valdez joining us tonight in Union Township, New Jersey, reporting about New Jersey's child care providers to receive $10 million in relief. We also have with us tonight Aaron Rio Tutar in Panorama City, California.
Angelenos react to the halt in the J&J COVID vaccine.
Ivan Sanchez joins us from Lancaster, California.
Combating COVID-19 vaccine side effects.
Also from California, in Sacramento, we have Angel Membrere, who tells us about a $536 million package from California's wildfire prevention and preparedness program. For EBC Sports, we have EJ Gonzalez in Alexandria, Virginia.
The latest news and updates from the NBA.
Plus, EBC friend Iris Del Rodam takes us horseback riding. I'm excited for that. Plus, for tonight's roundtable, do you have FOLO or the fear of lunching out? Well, today is National Make a Lunch Count Day, so let's find out why we need to break the cycle of FOLO. Our coverage begins now. Administration of the one-shot COVID-19 vaccine by Johnson & Johnson has been halted in the country. At the FDA headquarters in White Oak, Maryland, EBC's Eliza Gonzalez-Malikmut has the story.
The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, and the Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, recommend to pause use of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine after 6 people who received the vaccine experienced severe and rare blood clotting. The recommendation came through a joint statement by the CDC and the FDA that was released this morning, Tuesday, April 13. The impact of this recommendation was immediately felt. Those we know who are scheduled to get the Johnson & Johnson vaccine through a national pharmacy chain received a call about 30 minutes after the CDC's announcement. The pharmacy said appointments will be canceled and will contact these individuals with further information. According to the joint statement, all 6 reported cases occurred among women between the ages of 18 and 48. Symptoms occurred 16 to 13 days after vaccination. The blood clots were seen in combination with low levels of blood platelets and requires a treatment different from ones typically administered. Although the CDC said the clotting was extremely rare, they recommended the pause in the distribution of the vaccine out of an abundance of caution. The stoppage also gives healthcare providers time to be aware of proper recognition and treatment of the blood clots. On the heels of the recommendation of health authorities, Johnson & Johnson also released a statement this morning. The company said they decided to proactively delay the rollout of the vaccine in Europe. The company acknowledged the reported cases here in the United States. J&J also said it has been reviewing cases with European health authorities. People who have received the J&J vaccine who develop severe headache, abdominal pain, leg pain, or shortness of breath within 3 weeks after vaccination are advised to contact their healthcare provider. As of yesterday, April 12, more than 6.8 million doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine have been administered here in the United States. At the FDA headquarters here in White Oak, Maryland, Eliza Gonzalez-Malikmut, Eagle News, will live in interesting times.
Thank you, Eliza. Out of nearly 7 million Americans who have so far received the single-dose vaccine, officials said 6 women developed a rare type of clot in the brain along with low platelets. One later died while another in critical condition. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden says, and I quote, "There is enough vaccine for every single solitary American."
I made sure we have 6 100 million doses of the mRNA, not of either Johnson & Johnson and or AstraZeneca. So there's enough vaccine that is basically 100% unquestionable for every single solitary American.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases and chief medical advisor to President Joe Biden, says the blood clotting related to Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine is an unusual occurrence and is being investigated thoroughly. Take a look.
I think this is an unusual occurrence of a serious adverse event that you want to make sure before you go forward, you investigate it thoroughly. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're pausing so that they can look at it more carefully.
White House COVID-19 response coordinator Jeff Zients says CDC and FDA's announcement has no significant impact on the country's vaccination program, saying there is more than enough supply of vaccines to accommodate the administration's target of 3 million shots daily.
This announcement will not have a significant impact on our vaccination program. The J&J vaccine makes up less than 5% of the more than 190 million recorded shots in arms in the United States to date. So we have more than enough supply of Pfizer and Moderna vaccines to continue the current pace of about 3 million shots per day.
Starting on Monday, the U.S. Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, will start helping help cover funeral costs for people who have died from COVID-19. Harry Close, owner of a funeral home in Baltimore, is working with families to let them know about the application process and helping them apply.
I think if COVID-19 is not on the death certificate, they would not be eligible. And even if a family paid with life insurance, they now accept that. They consider that not a double reimbursement.
April Bellamy, whose father died in February 2021, says this aid helps lessen their grief.
It lessened our grief that we have from the passing of our dad. So we just appreciate the government, FEMA, the close friend or home, anybody that partook in this, because it's a big help to my mom financially.
Families can apply for up to $9,000.
I talked about 85 families yesterday, and maybe 5 heard about FEMA, about this program. And, you know, first of all, this is the first national effort FEMA has ever had. Yeah, when there's a disaster, they're focused, but this is the first national effort.
Now for today's COVID-19 numbers. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University of Medicine, as of 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday, April 13th, 2021, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 137 million. Top 3 on the list of countries with recorded cases, we have the USA, more than 31,325,000, India, more than 13,689,000, also Brazil, more than 13,517,000. Sadly, this virus has now already claimed more than 2,951,000 lives worldwide. Top 3 countries with the most number of COVID-19 related deaths are, we have the US with more than 563,000, Brazil more than 354,000, and Mexico more than 209,000. Up next, we have reports from Edmonton, Alberta, Texas, and New Jersey. Eagle News America continues after this.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Tune into
in Seattle, Washington. While waiting for more vaccine supply to arrive in the country, Canada now has more troubles when it comes to rollout. Bureau Chief Thomas Likeness gives us a picture of the situation. Thomas?
Thank you, Michael. Well, like you say, we've got some problems up here. The vaccine rollout was hit on two fronts today. Now, first, the Johnson & Johnson story. We just heard, Michael, of course, a few minutes ago from Eliza that your country has suspended the use of the single-dose Johnson & Johnson formula. And that's, of course, because of the rare blood clots that have cropped up in about a half dozen cases. Up here, we're watching the situation. Prime Minister Trudeau this morning told a news conference, we've not yet immunized anyone with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. As a matter of fact, we're still waiting for it to arrive here.
We are still on track to receiving our first shipment of the Johnson & Johnson Janssen vaccine by the end of this month. But obviously, we're following closely developments in the United States, and we can assure everyone that Health Canada will, every step of the way, put the health of Canadians first and foremost in any decisions we make around distributing vaccines. But it also goes to highlight that it was important that we signed deals with a large range of potential vaccine makers because we didn't know which ones would be most effective, which ones would arrive early. That's why Canadians are well served, and even without the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, we are going to be receiving over 44 million doses by the end of June.
No, Michael, reporters hadn't even had time to file that story from the news conference when we learned of another development. Health Canada reporting the first case of a recipient of the AstraZeneca vaccine developing a rare blood clot. The patient, a woman who lives in the province of Quebec, we don't know her age. Health Canada will be going over the data from the vaccine's manufacturer to decide our next step. Already, AstraZeneca is restricted to a very narrow demographic up here. Only people between the ages of 55 and 64 are immunized with that. Now, we're hoping this isn't going to lead to vaccine hesitancy on the part of the public. AstraZeneca was supposed to play a big role in the country's vaccine strategy, but it's lost the confidence of a number of people. A new public opinion poll revealing that more than half of those planning to get vaccinated do not feel comfortable with that vaccine. And at this stage of the pandemic, you know, the third wave here in Canada, we can't afford to lose that public confidence. Public health officials are going to have to be frank with us about the findings of their investigations into these two vaccines. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Michael.
Thanks so much, Thomas. Just a couple questions for you. So, you know, I have a lot of friends, including you in Canada, that, you know, starting to feel the, I guess, the heat, so to speak, from the new restrictions, going back to those restrictions. Can you let us know if there's any, you know, opposition against the restrictions right now in your area?
Well, we had some big demonstrations on Sunday and Monday. We talked about the big protest Sunday at a church that the government has shuttered for violating public health restrictions. The problem is these demonstrations are bringing out the fringe groups, the far right-wing extremists, the conspiracy theorists, and others of that ilk. And legislature, a number of people chanting, "Lock her up." And who they were referring to was an unelected official, our chief medical health officer, Dr. Dina Henshaw. You've heard her on this program before. They were also carrying signs, "We are coming for you." This is all very, very disturbing. She was asked about that at her news conference, and she says, well, you know, the protesters don't speak for the majority of Albertans. I know certainly the people I know they don't speak for. But Henshaw did evade questions on whether she feared for her safety. Michael?
Wow, that is scary. That is, man, I can't believe things like that are happening.
Really disturbing. It's I don't know. Something has changed in the last few years where people feel they have the license to do these things, to take the law into their own hands. Michael, I'm just confused by it all.
Me too. Me too. So, I mean, aside from that, Thomas, how are things in the province right now? Is it a little uneasy? Are people starting to get used to the new way of life, I guess you can say?
Well, we're going kind of back to the new old way of life. Right now, it's no contest between the variants and the vaccines. The variants are winning. Today, more than 70% of the new cases that were reported were caused by variants. That number totals about 700. We've got hospitalizations on the increase, more than 400 in hospital today with COVID, and nearly a quarter of those in intensive care. Now, those numbers might seem small to you compared to American states, but remember, we have a tenth of your population and a tenth or less of your resources, so 400 is a big number. Our chief medical officer of health today said if the present trend continues, there may be a need for further restrictions, but she doesn't say what. And that statement certainly isn't going to make her popular with a lot of people. Michael?
Gotcha, Thomas. Well, hey, stay safe out there. We'll see you next time.
You two stay safe, and we'll talk to you later in the program.
Sounds good. In response to the CDC and FDA's call to pause the use of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine across the country, Governor Greg Abbott issues a statement calling on Texans to fight or to continue signing up for Pfizer and Moderna COVID-19 vaccine appointments. In Corpus Christi, Bureau Chief Jane Kathleen Gregorio reports.
Thank you, Michael, and howdy from the Lone Star State. Here in Texas, the governor and Department of State Health Services are asking vaccine providers to pause all administration of the Johnson & Johnson Janssen COVID-19 vaccine in response to today's recommendation from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention and the Food and Drug Administration, which have announced reports of blood clots in 6 individuals 6 to 13 days after receiving the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Health officials recommend that people who have already received the vaccine and suffer headaches or abdominal pain, leg pain, or shortness of breath within 3 weeks after vaccination should contact their healthcare provider. Here in Texas, more than 500,000 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine have already been administered, but so far no cases of blood clots have been reported at this time. DSHS has not been informed of any change in the vaccine distribution. Providers that have received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine should continue to keep it under proper storage conditions. And providers should report all adverse effects resulting from any vaccination to the Vaccine Adverse Events Reporting System at vaers.hhs.gov. On Tuesday, Texas Governor Greg Abbott issued the following statement. The state of Texas is working in tandem with the federal government and vaccine providers to temporarily pause all administration of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. While no cases of blood clots have been reported in Texas, we are taking all the reports of rare adverse effects seriously and are working to ensure that COVID-19 vaccines administered in our state continue to be safe and effective. The governor urges Texans who do experience adverse reactions to contact their healthcare provider or dial 211 to receive a referral for a healthcare provider. He stated, vaccines are a crucial tool to mitigating the spread of COVID-19 and remain the most effective way to combat the virus in our communities. I continue to encourage Texans who wish to receive the Pfizer or Moderna vaccines to sign up. Stay tuned to Eagle News for further updates. In Corpus Christi, Texas, I'm Jane Kathleen Gregorio, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Michael.
Thanks, Jane. Appreciate it. Impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic for more than a year now, child care providers in New Jersey may now let out a sigh of relief as $10 million in aid is on the way. Bureau Chief Carlo Valdez files this report.
Thanks, Michael. In Paramus, New Jersey on Tuesday, Governor Murphy signed into law A-5445. This bill provides $10 million in federal COVID-19 relief aid for child care providers throughout New Jersey. Let's hear some words from Governor Murphy regarding this momentous occasion. Let's take a look.
The importance of affordable and accessible child care cannot be overlooked. And Dawn gave us a real sense of this. For the past year, the families of our essential frontline workers, whether they be our healthcare heroes and first responders or essential retail workers, among so many others, have relied upon the child care providers in their communities to keep their kids safe as they worked to keep our communities safe. And I don't think there's anyone who would argue that these services and the men and women who have stood tall to provide them have been anything but absolutely essential. To be sure, we have been there standing shoulder to shoulder with our child care providers and families. Through the efforts of the Department of Human Services and the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, we have put forward more than $250 million in vital supports that have not only ensured that our child care providers can keep their doors open, but which have also made child care more affordable for our families. And we have to remember that the families who have relied most heavily on child care services are our middle class and those working hard to join their ranks.
This bill is part of a $5-bill, $100 million relief effort aimed at helping New Jersey's economy recover from the year-long pandemic. And as for coronavirus stats and numbers, New Jersey reports of 3,466 new positive PCR tests, pushing the total to 842,408. Sadly, New Jersey is reporting 49 new confirmed deaths, pushing the total to 22,372 lives lost. In Union Township, New Jersey, Carlo Valdez, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Michael.
Appreciate the report, Carlo. Still to come, updates from California. This is Eagle News America. Stay with us.
It's time to take one step further and face the impossible. Time to search the unknown and fight for the truth. Time to overcome boundaries and connect the world. It's time for DW News.
Hey there, Arnie Aquino here at Hatley Castle, one of the filming locations for the X-Men series. Don't forget to tune in to Digital Nest only on Net 25.
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Michael Hudson. Los Angeles County residents scheduled to receive the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine share with Eagle News how they feel about this one-dose jab being halted by the CDC and the FDA. In Panorama City, Aaron Rio-Tutar reports.
Thank you, Michael. Los Angeles County places a hold on the utilization of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine in vaccination sites based on today's released guidance from the Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC. Eagle News asked LA residents how they feel about the government halting the one-dose COVID-19 vaccine by Johnson & Johnson. Let's take a look.
I received the Johnson & Johnson vaccination last Friday. So far, my only side effect had been very, very fatigued for the first 2 days. But now I feel fine and I have no side effects. I do agree, though, that the shot should be put on hold for further investigation, just to make sure everybody's safe and that the people that have had a bad reaction can have more studies and tests done to make sure that they are truly linked together.
Well, my thoughts about LA County holding the vaccine for Johnson & Johnson. LA County has all the right to do that because first they want to make sure that they're protecting their people under their jurisdiction. So my thoughts is it is rightful to do that kind of holding the vaccine through the recommendation of CDC, which they process scientifically how they come up with that recommendation.
When I first heard the news about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, I was a bit alarmed, but I hope people don't take this as an excuse not to get the vaccine and stay safe.
When I first heard about the CDC holding back the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, I thought about the millions of people that already took the vaccine. And I think about their willingness to trust in the government and the FDA now. And I think about what their opinions would be in the future if there is another vaccine that they need to take.
I think it's a good thing that Los Angeles is pausing the distribution of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. As recommended by the CDC and the FDA, even though a small portion of people were affected compared to the many who were administered the vaccine, I think it's a good thing to have it under review so that it can clear up a lot of the misconceptions or the worries that people might have.
I was pretty shocked hearing the news about them stopping the distribution of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, because being someone who hasn't received the vaccine myself and having older family members who are at risk, the longer it takes for this vaccine to be distributed, the more at risk they are of getting the virus. And I understand that there's been a small minority of people who have had bad reactions to the vaccine, except I feel like the risk of waiting to distribute it far outweighs kind of, the small minority of people who have bad reactions to it. So I'm just hoping that they'll figure it out and get it back out there soon.
I think it's appropriate for the investigating authorities to do their due diligence to make sure that they're ensuring vaccine safety for the general public. To put in perspective, I think 6 women having adverse effects out of the millions of people who have gotten vaccinated is small, but it is still something that warrants investigation. And I truthfully don't have enough information on it as an individual to sort of make that general decision for the public. So we should leave that to the authorities.
Los Angeles County public health officials state that the temporary hold on the utilization of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine will not greatly affect the vaccination appointments scheduled this week in county sites. Only 19,600 out of the 323,470 total doses allotted for this week were Johnson & Johnson vaccines. The city of Los Angeles has also paused the use of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine, affecting approximately 3,000 vaccination appointments today. The city received a shipment this week of almost 60,000 doses of the Moderna vaccine and 56,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. In Panorama City, California, Aaron Rio-Tutara, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Michael.
Thanks, Aaron. I had a quick question. So, for all the Los Angeles residents who scheduled a Johnson & Johnson vaccination appointment prior to the hold, what's going to happen to them? Are they going to allow them to get another type of vaccine, or what's up with that?
Well, for the meantime, at the county-run vaccination sites, those who have already scheduled their appointments for the sites administering the Johnson & Johnson vaccine will be contacted by county providers so they can be rescheduled for a new appointment that will provide either the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine. As for city-run vaccination locations, city officials released a statement today that all appointments will continue as scheduled, honoring anyone scheduled to receive the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, with the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine until more instructions will be given by the health officials. Michael?
All right, Aaron, I appreciate it. Stay safe out there. We'll see you in the next show.
You too, Michael.
All right. What do health officials say about some common and to be expected COVID-19 vaccine side effects? In Lancaster, Eagle News correspondent Ivan Sanchez has the details.
Thank you, Michael. Receiving a COVID-19 vaccine seems to be the top priority for many Americans. Here in California, residents 16 years old and up will be eligible to get the vaccine starting April 15th. Some, however, who have not yet been vaccinated have expressed their fear of the side effects that could come days or hours after their first shot. So what exactly can vaccine recipients expect from the shot? According to the CDC, individuals who get a COVID vaccine shot, no matter the maker of the medicine, a vaccine, are likely to experience pain, redness, and swelling in the arm. One might also experience headache, chills, fever, nausea, and extreme levels of exhaustion. These symptoms may sound threatening to some, but medical experts at Guthrie, a nonprofit organization serving as a mass vaccination site in New York, said that the pros of getting vaccinated definitely outweigh the cons of possible side effects. In general, side effects have proven to be mild when compared to the cases of full-blown COVID patients. Experts at Dartmouth University said the body's reactions to the vaccine is a good sign. It serves as proof that the vaccine is helping the body build antibodies and other proteins to increase COVID immunity, which is similar to how several other vaccines, such as the flu shot, work. To protect from fatigue, the CDC has recommended talking to doctors about taking over-the-counter medicines based on each individual's needs and health capacities. Aspirin and other medications are recommended for those experiencing any pain and any discomfort after getting vaccinated. Health experts have also noted that taking pain relievers, such as Advil, before the shot could negatively affect the body, so it is much better to wait until after the shot to take these kinds of medications. Experts have made it clear that getting vaccinated is the best way to protect yourself and others. Medical professionals across the country have also redoubled their efforts to make getting vaccinated as safe as possible as the nation continues to fight COVID-19. In Lancaster, California, Ivan Sanchez III, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thanks, Ivan. Quick question. So, the people who receive the vaccination, some of them don't even get side effects. So if they get the vaccination, they do not get the side effects, I mean, should they be worried at all?
That's a great question, Michael. From what has been said at the Chicago Health Department, experiencing no side effects doesn't mean that the vaccine wasn't effective and it won't protect you from COVID. It simply means that your body did not react with an inflammatory response, which is completely normal. The type of reactions we will get from the vaccine serve as proof that genetically, we are all unique. No two people will experience the exact same side effects, yet nearly all people will feel perfectly fine, at least after a day or two of receiving their dose.
All right, I appreciate it, Ivan. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Michael.
So wildfire season is around the corner, and California is in full swing fighting this warm weather threat. As proof, the state is investing over $500 million for prevention and preparedness. Bureau Chief Angel Membrere has the details.
Thank you. Today, Governor Newsom signed a $536 million package for wildfire prevention and preparedness. Wildfires are not new in California, and so Governor Newsom explains how this budget will help in preventative measures to reduce wildfire risks, protect the community, and overall reduce wildfire damage. Governor Newsom explains more. Let's listen.
You got to constantly keep at this. It can't be interested in addressing the issue of preparation. You've got to be committed year in and year out. And that's what's different now is we are committed as a team, as a partnership with the legislature and other state agencies, including now the federal government, no longer a sparring partner, but a working partner. Federal government, where we're not addressing headwinds, but tailwinds in terms of the support, a memorandum of understanding, doubling our respective commitments to vegetation management and forest management and prescribed burns to support the Biden administration with resources, not just rhetoric, to help this collective cause. It's a different paradigm. It's a different framework. But we recognize in the spirit of Beth's comments, spirit of Chief Porter's comments, that we have to recognize the hots are getting hotter.
Vaccines continue to roll out across California, with more than 3 million people getting vaccinated each week. However, with the recent news of the rare cases where 6 individuals between the ages of 18 to 48 developed blood clots 6 to 13 days after receiving the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, California is following CDC and FDA's recommendation to pause the use of this vaccine until further notice, which is only 4% of California's supply of vaccines. Governor Newsom continues to assure Californians that vaccines are still safe to receive, and if everyone continues to wear masks and get vaccinated, then California will be able to open fully by June 15th. In Sacramento, California, Angel Membrari, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thanks, Angel. Up next, EBC Sports, horseback riding in Guam, and tonight's roundtable about National Make Lunch Count Day. Eagle News America will return shortly. Stay with us.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Your weekly dose of entrepreneurial inspiration to update you on the latest developments in the world of business. Get up close and personal with CEOs and thought leaders to help you discover valuable insights, sharpen your instincts for smart decision making with the latest markets and economic trends, disruptive ideas, global innovation, social entrepreneurship, and other leading-edge business ideas. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business, from vision to action.
It was a busy Monday in the NBA. Some teams lost their star players to injury, and other NBA stars made history. In Alexandria, Virginia, we have EJ Gonzalez with the basketball roundup.
Thanks, Mike. Here's the rundown on the latest news in the National Basketball Association. Monday night featured 8 games, and here's how some of them played out. The New York Knicks defeated the short-handed Los Angeles Lakers 111-96. And the former Laker, Julius Randle, led the way for the Knicks and finished with a double-double, 34 points and 10 rebounds, and added 4 assists. Now in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia 76ers ended their stretch of road games with a win over the Dallas Mavericks, 113-95. Embiid dominated again with 36 points and 7 rebounds. Now the Washington Wizards stopped the league's best team, that's record-wise, the Utah Jazz, 125-121. Bradley Beal led the way in scoring with 34 points, while Russell Westbrook recorded yet another triple-double, 25 points, 14 rebounds, and 14 assists. This snapped the Utah Jazz's 24-game home winning streak. Now for the biggest news in the league, Steph Curry put up 53 points last night and led the Warriors to a win over the Denver Nuggets. Curry adds to his impressive resume as he surpassed NBA legend Wilt Chamberlain for the most points in Warriors franchise history. Now, unfortunately, this game also brought some bad news as Nuggets star Jamal Murray exited the game early. Murray went up for a layup in the closing seconds of the game and grabbed his knee on his way down and was grimacing in agony. And today, the Denver Nuggets announced that Murray suffered a torn ACL in his left knee and will be out indefinitely. Now, after the tragic incident in Minneapolis, where 20-year-old Dante Wright was shot by police at a traffic stop, the Timberwolves and the Nets game was postponed yesterday. The NBA released a statement last night saying the decision was made after consulting with the Timberwolves organization and local and state officials to allow their thoughts to remain with the friends and family of Dante Wright. Now, the league rescheduled the game for earlier today at 3 o'clock p.m. Central, and the Brooklyn Nets cruised over the Minnesota Timberwolves. The final score was 127-97. In Alexandria, Virginia, EJ Gonzalez, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Mike.
Man, oh man, the Jamal Murray injury,
Oh, man.
that is just a huge blow. I mean, we were talking about it in our show last week that, you know, the Nuggets were going to be a contender. They're probably a top 3 team in the NBA, but now this injury. I mean, what are your thoughts about where the Nuggets are heading now with that injury?
It's tough. I mean, this is Jamal Murray, the guy who put up 50 points in the bubble last year, carried the team on his back, survived multiple 7-game series, and a lot of it was because of Jamal Murray. Now, missing that like lethal weapon in the playoffs, I think is going to be very detrimental to the Nuggets' run for championship. And this year, they look promising, especially after that acquisition with Aaron Gordon. But then you start thinking about the other players on the Nuggets, and they have capable players, right? Will Barton, he can play. Michael Porter Jr. is coming out of his shell, and he's been producing, putting up pretty much 20-plus points per game over the last couple of games. So they have the personnel to back up that loss from Jamal Murray. But, you know, Jamal Murray proved that when they really needed him, he can produce. And these guys, Will Barton and Porter and even Aaron Gordon, they haven't shown that yet. So we're just going to have to wait and see, honestly, in the playoffs where it really matters. But it's a big loss and a tough loss for Denver and Denver fans, even NBA fans, to lose Jamal Murray, man.
Huge, man. Yeah, I remember how just electrifying he was in the bubble last season. So that's definitely a huge loss. But I want to shift over to Steph Curry real quick. So 53 points yesterday. He passes Wilt Chamberlain for the record. I mean, I'm sure you saw him in college at Davidson. Did you expect him to be this successful this fast?
I don't think anytime anybody passes Wilt Chamberlain, a record that Wilt Chamberlain set, you could automatically put them in one of the best offensive players to ever play the game, right? Like Stephen Curry, I mean, adding that three-point line has been beneficial because a lot of players are able to rack up points more and more, especially now in today's NBA league where three-pointers are really the new two-pointers. Like, I think there's a lot of teams who really focus more on getting an open three than a contested jumper or you know, attacking the paint. And Steph Curry, even attacking the paint or shooting, he's proven that he could score at any part of the court. And you know, to pass Wilt Chamberlain, the guy who put up 100 points in a single game, anytime you beat any of his records, like I said, it's definitely impressive, and Steph Curry is definitely going to go down in history.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, I had one last question for you, you know, with the Minnesota incident. You know, we all know that who ended up postponing the games. Can you kind of give us your thoughts, you know, when this announcement was made?
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, it was just sad, you know, to hear another situation like this that's happened in our country where a life was lost at the hands of the authorities, you know, the ones who are supposed to protect our lives. And I actually didn't know about the incidents, right? Until I received the notification on my phone and that the NBA game was postponed. And I was wondering, I was like, why is this happening? So that's when I researched about the incident and what occurred and found out what happened to Daunte Wright. You know, last year, after what happened to George Floyd and countless others, you know, it was the players. It was the players who voiced their concern in what was happening in the country. And they're the ones telling the league, you know, their plans of boycotting, you know, the games and to stand for justice. And, you know, at this moment in time, I love how in this situation, it was the league now who was proactive. You know, they reached out to the teams and local and state officials in order to support the players and their families of those who were affected with Daunte Wright's death. So, you know, it shows that the things happening in this country are bigger than sports, and that's what really deserves the most attention.
Absolutely. Well, hey, thank you for the roundup, EJ. We will see you Friday at the debating table.
Yeah. All right, Mike.
All right, let's take a bit of time to relax now. A breakdemic. Here's something our Eagle News correspondent in Guam has tried in these new normal times: horseback riding.
Looking for a fun activity for the family or to cross something off on your bucket list? Well, why not give horseback riding a try?
Meet the horses.
This is Bogey. Bogey.
He likes to go fast. This is Serrano. Serrano. He's the daddy. This is Sienna. She has beautiful eyes. Let me see your eyes, girly. See your eyes. Hi. There you go. She's a beautiful girl. And then who's this? This is Corazon. Hi, Corazon. And this is Star.
They're beautiful, majestic creatures, friendly and tame. Activities you'll enjoy include cleaning and grooming, feeding, and lastly, riding. Depending on the rider's experience, you can ask for assistance. You will learn how to mount, hold the reins, your posture, and dismount. Beginners like us rode Star, who likes to take her time. After riding, we finally understood the expression, hungry as a horse. Horses like to eat apples, carrots, and hay. Fun fact, only Bogey can eat a whole apple. The others need it cut in half. Ready to cross this off your bucket list? Well, what are you waiting for? Reporting from the island of Guam, this is Irishdale Redan. We live in interesting times.
Thanks for the story, Irishdale. So today, if you didn't know already, is National Make Lunch Count Day. So according to nationalcalendar.com, a majority of American workers suffer from what is called FOLO. Yeah, I haven't heard of it either. Or fear of lunching out. But did you know that taking a break from work, even for a few minutes, can actually recharge our minds and replenish the energy we use? Best Health Mag of Reader's Digest suggests that taking lunch breaks away from your desk is beneficial in several ways. It improves nutrition, fewer body aches and pains. Stepping away from your desk for a bit helps fire up your brain, improves concentration, it improves your digestion, helps practice self-care and lower stress, and positive mental health. So tonight, I'm going to ask our team if lunching out benefits them and at work and in other ways. So I'm going to go around the virtual room here. So we had EJ, Thomas, Eliza, Ivan, and Aaron. I'm going to ask you guys several questions. So we'll go in that order. So question number one, the first one is EJ. Do you eat lunch at your desk or away?
So today, it honestly depends on how much work I have during the day. But you know, today I did eat my lunch at my desk. Yep. I haven't gone out to eat in a while, but yeah, today I ate in front of my desk.
Wow, nice. Thomas?
Habitually, I usually ate at my desk. Depended what I was doing at what stage of my career. When I was a DJ, I wouldn't eat before my shift. I waited until it was over. Food wasn't allowed in the control room, but I don't like to eat before I go on the air. Even here, I've skipped dinner and I will have dinner after the show is over. When I was a reporter, well, there were lunch meetings and so on. So you're eating while you're out on assignment. Otherwise, I would be at my desk back at the station, scarfing down my lunch while I'm writing stories. As an editor, same thing. Ate at my desk, but by then I had my own office, so it basically gave me some time alone. I could read a book or a newspaper, but still at my desk. I don't know now. Because I'm working at home, I just go upstairs, join my wife for lunch. She's able to come home because she works nearby.
Gotcha. Eliza, how about you? Do you like eating lunch at your desk or do you go away? for a few minutes?
Yes and no. Depends on the day. Mike, as often as I can, I try to step away from work a few minutes, a few minutes a day just to recharge. But sometimes, like Thomas in his DJ days, once I start working, I just don't want to break the momentum. So I end up eating where I am, and that's usually at my desk. But then at the end of the day, when everything's done, then I remember to eat, which is bad, but I still eat.
Evan?
For me, I'm a college student who's currently studying from home. So every time I'm done with work, I have to make the effort to eat with my family at the table. And yeah, it is recharging, and it is nice to just kind of remember, my life. Like right now, I'm like a person for a student first, so I kind of just make my own agenda related to eating, and I take a long time too, like over an hour, like sometimes too long before I get back to work. So it takes a while to get back to the momentum. But it's good spending time with family.
Extended lunches, I love it. I love extended lunches. And Aaron, how about you? Do you like eating lunch at your desk? Do you like going away somewhere?
Usually varies day by day. But today I did eat away from my desk. But the thing is, there's no exception that there's always this. I'm always behind the screen. So even though I'm not from my desk, when I'm eating, I'll usually pull up. I'll probably watch a show while I'm eating. And then I'll take the whole episode just trying to eat my meal. So, yep, it varies.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so a lot of you guys are 50-50. That's fine. I'm the same way. Some days I'll eat at my desk, especially if I have a busy day. Some days I'll go out if I, especially if it's nice out, just enjoy the weather and things like that. So EJ, you said that you like going away. Is there a particular reason or like a physical reason you like to get away from your desk? Can you kind of expound on that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of benefits of getting away from the desk. Honestly, a couple of weeks ago, I've noticed that I started getting dizzy a lot. I think it's because I'm just always behind a screen. So I got these these blue light glasses, and they've helped a lot. Like they've reduced my headaches, but. Yeah, it's just so beneficial to just really step away from the desk. It is like Eliza said. Once you get in that zone though, and you're working, you kind of don't even realize, and you don't even realize you're hungry. But a lot of the slower days, I get hungry early, so I'll just step away, go upstairs real quick, grab a snack or something. So yeah, I do think it's important though to step away from the desk time to time.
Definitely. And Ivan, you mentioned that you like, having dinner with your family, which is great. I guess I'll still count that as at your desk because you're like at a physical table, right? So with that said, do you guys have pretty interesting conversations when you eat together, or is it quiet, or what's it like having dinner with your family?
Well, I can say it's never quiet. Pretty much we always find ways to start conversation. Whether it's about our day, funny observations that we learned from work or from class. And yeah, it's just always interesting to have them. It's always fun and always important to have them around. But yeah.
Got it. And Eliza, what do you look forward to the most when you eat out for lunch? Is it the weather? Is it being with other people? What's your take on that?
It's more of the experience. Well, of course, you want to eat good food all the time, but when you don't, what matters is who you eat lunch with or who you converse with while you're eating. So, like Ivan said, I think that's what matters. Right, Mike?
Right. Kind of cut out there. Thomas, when was the last time you had lunch out? I know that a lot of us, restrictions are different in Canada, stricter there. So do you remember
actually it was, I can tell you the exact date. It was April 1st, my wife's birthday. That's the first time in over a year that we have been out for lunch. And of course, now it's not possible because the restaurants here are shut down now. They do offer outdoor service, so you're pretty much limited to takeout food. And it's still a little bit chilly to be sitting outside, although a lot of people do. But with the shutdowns and so on, there's been very little opportunity. But it was kind of nice. We went out to an Asian restaurant while we were just kind of traveling around, and yeah, it was great. It was great.
How about you, Aaron? When was the last time? Was it today? You went out to lunch today by yourself or with family or what?
Actually, today I went by myself to buy some food because there wasn't actually any food here at home. So I had to resource to other means to get my lunch today.
All right. Well, hey, happy National Lunch Out Day, guys. Thanks for playing and answering my questions. I really do appreciate it. And thank you, as always, for your wonderful stories tonight. All right, as always, we end the program with a salute to our healthcare workers, first responders, and essential workers. All of you out there on the front line, we give you a round of applause. We appreciate you guys so much. So this is today's Eagle News America. Thank you for joining us. I'm Michael Hudson. We live in interesting times.
Start up your weekday mornings with edutainment, news, and information kasama ang inyong paboritong Net25 shows. Samahan ang inyong paboritong morning barkada sa Pambansang Almusal at 5 a.m. Tatalakayin mga pangunahing balita sa pagtutulungan ng Radyo Agila at Net25. Samahan si Weng de la Fuente sa Balitalakayan, 7 a.m. Saganang Mamamayan at 8 a.m. NHK World at 9 a.m. Eagle News International at 10 a.m. At mga balitang dapat